Hey, what's up? Welcome to Mechanics Edo. Today I'm going to be showing you how to fix a common problem for an EGR 401 insufficient flow. What I got right here is a 2003 Ford F-150 with a 4.6 liter engine in it. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cover off right here. There is three 10mm bolts. Cover comes off. So we see the fresh air duct. We're going to come right back here on the back side. Going to come underneath and look at this wire. There is a little push type of grommet. We're going to push that out. And right down here underneath, we're going to disconnect this connector. I'm just going to grasp this connector, pull it out. For the connector, there's a little tab right here. I'm going to push that down. I'm going to grab it and pull it apart. Right here on top of the duct, we got this little connector. If we just press in, I believe this is the intake air temperature sensor. We'll just pull that off. So right underneath here, there's a vacuum tube that's hooked up to this fresh air duct. See it right here. Just gonna pop that off. So right back here on this end, we're gonna take this clamp off. Just loosen that up. Now we can grasp this duct, pull it back. And we got this mass airflow duct comes off of this vacuum hose right there in the back. We can see that. We should be able to take the whole thing out. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to take off this cruise control servo cable. So what we want to do is take the throttle plate, pull it forward, and we're going to pull this back like that, and it just comes off of that stud, and you see the little slot that fits into. Pretty easy. We're going to take the tension off of this throttle cable, and we're just going to bring that straight out to the side, just like that. There's a little slot for that to fit into. Very simple. So we got to take this spring off right here. It's pretty simple. Just unhook it from that side, take it off the back side, and we're going to put this aside because we don't want to lose it down underneath that intake, because it's kind of like a dungeon down in there. This vacuum hose right here on the top, just pull it off. Right over here on the side, we've got another little vacuum hose I need to pull off. On the front of the throttle body, we're going to take these two connectors off right here. I can't remember what they're called. I just don't forgot. It's been so long since I worked on these. But this one, you're just going to squeeze on this tab and pull it off. You see that right there? You just squeeze right there. It'll come right off. This one has a tab on this side. You'll just squeeze that tab and pull it off. So we're going to take the two bolts out right here on this side. This is the right side. That's for your throttle body adapter. And we're taking this off with the throttle body still attached. We're not going to separate that. If we did, we would probably need to go ahead and replace that gasket. So we're just going to leave it connected together. And that is a 8mm bolt head. So for this next bolt, if we just follow this down and go straight down behind it, there it is right there. I'm going to pull that out off camera because I can't film it while I'm doing it. As you notice there, I've got a little bit longer extension so I can have some clearance to get down in there. There's the other bolt. We got one more to go. The last bolt is just aft of that one, and it's the toughest one to get to. Let's see if I can get you to see it. There it is. See it back in there? That's the hardest one to get to. Whatever you do, don't drop it. There's the last bolt. So now we're going to take this EGR valve off. There's a bolt here, and then there's a nut right here. And we're going to get that nut right there. So this pipe right here comes on back to the back of the throttle body adapter back here. We're going to have to take this hose off of there. And I'm probably going to have to get a flathead screwdriver to do it. Let's push that thing off. There we go. Now that's free. We can move it back out of the way. So if we look right down in there, there's a hose clamp we got to take off there. There's another one right over there. So we're going to take those off. If I pull this forward a little bit, I can see that hose right there. Just going to loosen it up. Now this did have spring clamps on it. Do yourself a favor and put you a regular hose clamp on there, the screw type. It makes it so much easier. There we go, got that one off. This actually has a little bit of coolant in it. Got another one down in here. Just by taking those bolts off first and moving this thing forward, makes it a little easier to get onto those hose clamps. Now I should be able to grasp this tube right here with a screwdriver and work that off of there. Maybe loosen the clamp up a little more. Here we go. And the last thing to take off is the PVC valve, which is right there. So now that we got this off, we can look at it. Down in here, these are the EGR ports. You can see they're clogged up. This will give you your 401 EGR Insufficient Flow. And you can see they come right down here through this manifold and they go to your EGR valve. So the only thing we need to do is get down in here with a pick and scrape all of this stuff out. The stuff is really hard. You just have to sit there and work at it. Now it doesn't really go down deep into here. It's right there at the end is where it builds up at. So I'm going to work on getting that out. So I got this pick. I'm just going to go in here and just start chipping this stuff out. It is hard. Look at all of that. You're going to get a majority of it, but it's going to build back up on you anyway after so many miles. So I got them looking fairly open down in there. Just about can't shine a light up in there so y'all can see. Here's what I'm using. Craftsman scupping pads, 800 grit. Gonna clean that surface up. This is aluminum, so you don't need to be too aggressive with it. Just gonna get all the tarnishes off. Looks pretty good. Also, now this is really clean right here, but you can get some buildup in here if you get a dry towel and just go in there and then just rub it in there. That stuff will come right off of there. You can go all the way up in there. This one's still clean from the last time I did it. Now on this throttle body, don't do it on this throttle body because it has a special coating. As you can see, there isn't hardly anything stuck to that. Maybe a little bit around here on the perimeter where I've been kind of rubbing that around in that stuff. But if you rub in there on that, you could remove that coating and you'll cause buildup and your engine will start to run rough. So don't clean this part out. There is a cleaner, but you know, nothing's sticking in there. There's no need to go down in there and do it. $7.38, that's with a military discount, of course, from O'Reilly's. This is a Fel Pro gasket. And we'll make sure we got the right one. And that is it. So now I'm going to take this over there to the truck. I'm going to do the same thing on the manifold. I'm going to wipe away from it to make sure we don't get any dirt to fall in there. that is it. That's nice and shiny. Didn't take much. So go ahead and set the throttle body back on there. Then I'm gonna hook up this hose in the back. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this other one. Make sure the hose clamp is still on there. Go ahead and work it back on there. Just gonna slide it underneath there. Get a couple of holes lined up. Get one bolt lined up. I'll get these two on this side installed. They're the easiest ones to get to line those up. So I'm just gonna get them started. So I'll go ahead and get these installed back here in the back. Don't drop the bolt, whatever you do. One more to go, just to get them loosely installed. All right, they're all installed. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten them down. See if I can tighten that on down with my fingers. Yep. Gotta climb up in here. Gotta hold the clamp while I tighten it so it'll stay in place. Our other one is right here. We moved it out of sight. See, we got a little bit of coolant leaking out of it. Make sure our hose clamp is still on there. This one's a whole lot easier to get to. Now for right back here, we got your brake booster. So it goes on right there. Next, I'm going to put the EGR valve back on. You're going to need a new EGR valve gasket. This one's a Felpro. I'll put this gasket and the throttle body adapter to manifold gasket. I'll put those in a link for y'all so y'all know which ones those are. And I dropped it. Do not drop it like I just did off of camera. It went down underneath there. I had to get it out with a pair of these. The bolt goes on the front side. And the stud goes on the other side. See the way this works? You got this right here, holds the EGR valve on. This one holds the bracket on, which I pulled off earlier. And the bolt goes on first, or stud, whatever you want to call it. This bolt has a washer and the stud has a washer. This one requires a deep well. Make sure those are torqued pretty good, but not over torqued, because this is just aluminum, so you don't ever want to over torque anything. And the bracket goes back on the stud. And I do not know what happened to my nut, if it fell down in there or what, but I'm just gonna omit it right now. I had to take this off so I could get that gasket out. Pretty easy, just 2 bolts holding this on. Just gonna snug them down, don't over tighten them. Now we got this hose right here coming off the evap purge solenoid or something like that. We'll stick it back on there on the back side of that. Now we're gonna go ahead and hook up these connectors. This one here didn't snap in place. I do believe this is your throttle position sensor. It may have been broken, I don't really remember. Now I'm going to go ahead and hook up our spring for our throttle. Pretty simple. Got the cable. Gonna pull this on down all the way. Gonna stick that in that hole. Pull it up a little bit. Let it fall right down in there just like that. And then for our cruise control, we're just gonna slide that back in place just like that. Gonna go ahead and put our fresh air duct hose back on. We're gonna hook up this elbow right over here. And our fresh air duct. Make sure that goes back on this hose right here, and this is turned a little bit. Turn it back down. Push that up in there and everything on at the same time. Go ahead and get this line back up. And down underneath here, connect those 2 halves, and then push this back up. I'm gonna give this thing the once over just to make sure I've got everything hooked back up. And I do not, I see a vacuum tube I left off over there. Right back over here. And there it is. Good thing I looked. Okay. All right, let's see what we got here. Now while this engine is running, I'm going to make sure that those coolant lines aren't leaking back there. Ain't nothing leaking. Everything looks good. We'll shut it off. So the last thing underneath the hood, I'm going to put the cover back on, and then I'm going to clear the code. All right, I turn my key back on, connect. All right, hey, we're connected. All right, so read the code again. It's probably still going to be there. Just do the check engine light. Yep, 2 codes found. EGR flow insufficient detected. EGR control circuit / open. All right, I'm going to clear those. Okay, So I have to run this for a while and make sure my 401 code doesn't come back. I'm pretty sure it won't. So that is it for the fix.